Okay, making sales less complicated. We all know that obviously sales are less complicated for professionals based on experience, and they can be a little bit complicated for those that are just getting their foot in the door when it comes to any sales profession. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. Back in the day, in my early 20s, I've actually done door to door sales where basically every business had a sign that says no soliciting. Of course, this presented a challenge for us. However, every challenge must be overcome, and we were able to eventually conduct business just simply by carrying ourselves very professionally speaking. With that said, later on, I've had an opportunity to work in a job where cold calling was the main way to get through to clients. And I remember the first 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I would say, I've gotten a consecutive number of rejections based on one simple fact. I was not able to sell myself as effectively as I thought that I could through the phone. That was the number one thing. And the second was being super positive. It's a little bit different when the person's not right in front of you. So, introduction and authority. With authority, I'd like to speak about the following. You must be able to sell yourself. Not you should or you have to. You must be able to sell yourself. Meaning you need to basically have the knowledge, the ins and outs of the product or services that you're basically trying to present to your clients. You should be confident. You must be confident. And you should be very positive. Actually, confident and positive should be basically part of your character throughout anything that you carry out in life in general. So, with that said, proceeding to being very attentive and, of course, being very observant. Being observant will actually and attentive, and I'm not referring to just listening. I'm referring to paying attention. This will allow you to acquire information as you actually communicate. So with that said, we all know the saying, the moment you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Make sure that you really know what words to actually pick. Even if you actually had to endure a number of no's before you get to the point where you can strongly introduce yourself. So I would say learn how to sell yourself. If you can't, you will not go very far in any professional sales career. With that said, so who you are, we just spoke about introduction and authority. You must position yourself as the number one person and the only one who basically has the solution to their problem. Your product or service is designed to actually solve a problem. So when you actually go to a business owner or a client or a prospect, they need to know that you are the one with the solution. Not they should know, they need to know. So when you come in, you are actually there to solve the actual problem. If you can't, you have a serious problem. You're not going to overcome that obstacle. So with that said, establishing credibility, track record, success stories, and experience. If you can actually sell yourself right from the beginning, you should be able to actually have a strong standing when it comes to communicating your actual solution when presenting credibility with respect to the product or services or you. So focus on selling yourself. And by the way, this actually got me from negotiating 3 figures all the way to 8 figures contracts. With that said, moving forward, understanding the client's pain points. This is pretty much universal. Understanding the client's pain point, you do this by asking questions and listening. Don't interrogate the client, just ask questions, try to connect with them, try to understand them. I would assume that you actually done your research or conducted a thorough research about what your product will do, what is the ideal client or customer of your actual business that you're basically trying to push forward with respect to the product or services that you're trying to offer, thus giving you the upper hand when it comes to understanding their client's pain point. If you basically provide a software that solves an actual problem, you should know who are your target clients, what business that they run, what problems that they technically have, since you have designed a solution to it. Identifying the key problems, the emotional and financial impact. Everyone cares about their business. Everyone, including me and you. Everyone cares about their business. So finding the emotional and financial impact should be easy if you ask the right questions. You should be able to actually understand the challenges that they're going through, because you know that your product solves a specific problem. You should be able to relate to the challenges that they have. And once you discuss the figures, the data, the numbers, in this case, of how you were able to convert a problem to a solution, you will be able to connect with them better. Clearly present your product or service. If you know the product or services that you're offering like the back of your hand, this should be easy for you. And if this is easy for you, and it must be easy for you, because if it's not, you will stumble early on in the actual communication or negotiation, and then you will fumble the whole thing. So with that said, once you clearly present the product or service that you're basically offering, speak about the features, the benefits, why you are the one that they should actually buy from. And I'm not talking about price. I'm talking about the price is basically the last thing that you should be considering. Their number one priority is the solution, because if you can solve the problem, the money will follow. Explain how it solves their problem better than alternatives. If you can understand what I'm going to share with you, you would actually position yourself at a very, very high level. Study your competition, study the market, know exactly the actual problem that you're trying to solve, the solution, the timing, and the actual outcome once you offer the solution. If you can explain this at a fifth grader level, basically in simple, clear terms. I know that basically communication must be conducted in a very, very eloquent way. You must be an eloquent speaker. But if you can actually speak about the actual product in a very simple, clear terms and make an example out of it, you should be able to position yourself higher than the competition. Because there's a lot of salespeople that can actually speak about any product. They will use strong terminologies that might go over the client's head. That can be actually good, but sometimes this can fire back. So you should be able to explain it at a fifth grader level. So the unique value proposition. Why you? Why they should consider you? What sets you apart? Is it price? Is it quality? Speed? Results? Speed referring to basically your ability to solve the problem. Like I said, price is the last thing that you want to talk about. Value. Benefits. Why you? Because I'm able to, my product or service is able to do this, and that. What sets you apart? The quality. Talk about your product. If you're convinced that your product is the best in the market, they will automatically trust that it's the best in the market. Your product is literally a reflection of who you are. Speed and results, if you are basically face to face communicating with a prospect, you should be able to actually illustrate something on a laptop via charts, graphs, numbers, data. If you're on the phone, if you can get them close to a computer, just ask, are you close to a computer? I could show you right now. If not, of course, you can basically schedule a follow-up call if this part is necessary. If they wanted to, of course, see how you work or what is your product basically focused on when it comes to solving the problem. How does it solve the problem? The main focus is the quality and the results. How long it takes. Not everyone has time. You need to understand that there's a certain level of people that value time so much to the point that they would give you actually 30 minutes to speak about a solution that they actually need. Others do have a little bit more than 30 minutes. They can actually give you an hour. You should be able to understand who your target client is, what they do, and make sure that you value time as much as they do, because you're not always going to have enough time to actually talk about your product or close a deal. Sometimes you would have to do it in 2 calls. Sometimes you would have to basically meet in person. So this depends. This is not a presentation where I actually give you information in a blanket format, one size fit all type of solution. So take what resonates and apply it accordingly. Visual comparison with competitors, if necessary. I just spoke about that. It helps a lot. It's different, especially if you're speaking about big numbers here. Social proof and testimonials. If you work for a well-established firm, then you basically have that support. Your colleagues, your company basically will be able to support you. Just, sharing the information of the company will show what clients you're basically working with, the testimonials, the reviews, etc. However, if you are basically new to the field and you know the product like the back of your hand, as I've mentioned in the beginning, you should be able to breeze through this, because if the client likes you, they'll do business with you. It's guaranteed they will do business with you. Of course, that alone is not actually the whole formula, but if you are on the side of the client or on the good side of the business owner, they will actually eventually consider you instead of competition. Second point, logos of well-known clients or stats showing impact. I just spoke about that. If you work for a well-established business or newly established business, and you have done, if you basically have done business with few clients, you should use that to support the product or service that you're offering. Handling objection. If you can actually solve the problem, and you're guaranteed, not if, you must be able to solve the problem. And this is at all costs. Not basically, it's not up for negotiation. The timing and the trust will work themselves out, because once you present your product very effectively and show how fast you will gain the result for the actual business owner or the prospect, they will actually trust the information, knowing that you knew exactly how to break it down. But if it doesn't make sense, if it's not logical, then you might actually lose that, because the emotional part is the actual trigger in every human being. Usually we get, triggered emotionally first, like, oh, I like that, oh, I don't like that. It's something within our DNA. So the logical part usually kicks in a few seconds later on. So make sure that you basically try to describe your product or service using numbers, using figures, using stats, using charts. Focus on the benefits, focus on the features. This is how you can actually gain more trust, because you will be able to handle objections better. What is it that you do that is different from others? If they do it in 1 month, why can you actually do it in 3 weeks? How can you do it in 3 weeks? Like I said, the price is not a priority to any business owner or any prospect or any client. If you overcome all the objections and you were able to solve the problem, you should be able to actually sell with your eyes closed. Provide logical and emotional reassurance. I just spoke about it. Make sure that you actually tap into the logical part, because it will start kicking in, and then they will be more at ease with you, emotionally speaking. The value over cost. I just spoke about this, but the return on investment. Don't use the word price. It's better to use investment, because it sounds better, it's more sophisticated, and it's actually the solution. It's an investment. Pretty much any solution is an investment, because it solves a problem, thus giving you actually a solution, whether it's basically something personal, professional, technical, and the list goes on and on. So present the price as a small investment, basically saying that once you invest in those benefits, not in this product or features, and those benefits, focus on the solution, the return is completely insane. Like, I would be able to give you this as a result. In other words, to actually make it very simple, massive return, meaning that I will solve so many problems that you're going through with this simple actual solution. It's that simple. You will get all of this once you decide to make this simple investment. Then, of course, showing the return on investment through data, numbers, and examples. I just spoke about this earlier, but it makes all the difference. You speak about data, you speak about numbers, you speak about examples, you trigger the attention much, much more effectively. Speaking is one thing, and showing actual results with figures and numbers and charts is another thing. It's completely different. This is before and this is after, and this is what the client actually cares about. Urgency, why buy now? Be careful with this, because it depends on the actual asset. It's not the same if you're selling a bottle of water or if you're actually moving an entire commercial building. So handle negotiation with care. The fear of missing out, don't try to basically push this narrative forward. They need to actually know that if they actually not close with you, if they do not close with you, they will miss out on the whole deal. But don't push this forward, because they will back off. Now, of course, this is up for debate depending on the situation, but if you sold yourself early on, they will actually be afraid they're going to miss out on an opportunity. This is how powerful your way of presenting the information should be. If you've done your part, they will have that fear of missing out without you speaking about it. So, with that said, the most important part, don't underestimate this step. I know it's the final step in the actual communication or the negotiation, but make sure that you are super clear, simple, direct, no confusion. Make sure to ask questions. Don't try to basically run through this and close the deal, because any misinformation or confusion, or if the client's not clear, or if you try to expedite the process of closing, it might fire back. It actually might not just fire back, you will lose the client for good. So with that said, make sure that they are clear, they are basically on the same page with you, so that you can say, okay, here's what's going to happen next. you either send them a payment link, or you basically book a call or book an appointment to go see them in person. And this is how you actually close, by saying, okay, I'm going to see you on Monday, or I'm going to speak to you on Monday at this time, on this date. It has been a pleasure, and I look forward for our meeting in person or for our next conversation. Thank you, and make sure that you repeat their name throughout the actual communication or the negotiation or the call or the meeting. That way they will feel more at ease and more connected, and they will actually appreciate you as a professional. I hope you found this presentation helpful. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments.